Hi, welcome to an Instadeq overview video. In this case, we are going to see the main view called the deck view. You can follow even if you don't have an account. Go to app.instadeq.com and click Try It Now. If you have an account, just log in. This is the main view, the view where you start, and this is called a deck. A deck has a title right here at the top. You can double click and rename it. And a deck has cards. By default, it has one card in the start state, which is the state that allows us to pick the card we want to create. You can create more cards by clicking the blue buttons at the top and bottom of each card. It will create a card in that place. For example, let's select the clock type here and click one to add one at the bottom. Let's select here a card type, and I want to create one in the middle, so I will click again and it will show me the new card there. We have many card types and we will add more with time, but they can be grouped into four main groups. The sources, which, for example, if I control click here, it will reverse selection and show only the sources. And they are different, and they allow us to consume data from files, from external systems, example sources like clock, manually enter data like a dictionary, and data from that's generated when the deck loads, like on load. And other videos will go into detail on all of them. Other cards we have, once we have the data we want to rename fields, remove fields, add, reorder, filter rows and stuff like that, or create aggregations. For that, we have two types of cards: group by and select. Group by is to create aggregations, and select is to filter, rename, add calculated fields, and so on. Here I'm clicking and control clicking on the tags to show and hide the other ones. And then once we have the data the way we like it, we may want to display it. For that, we use the charts, which this card has many different charts you can pick from once you have the data in the shape you want. Once we have more than one chart, we may want to organize them into a layout, which is a grid. We can pick different layouts for different screen resolutions, and Instadeq will pick the best resolution and the best layout for the device that's opening the deck. And we also can add notes where we can take notes for ourselves or explain something on a deck. We can also share decks and not only grids or cards, so we may want to have notes explaining what's being displayed. We also have resources where if you can load images. For example, if you want to add a logo to a layout, or if you want to add a background, you do it through a resource. And finally, we have internal cards, information about Instadeq, for example, the version. But when you want to report an issue, you can go here and click here at the bottom right, and it will copy the details of your browser and operating system and the version of Instadeq into the clipboard, and you can paste it into an email or in chat, so we know which versions of operating system, Instadeq and browser you have. It may be a reason why the issue is there. And the other one is legal information of licenses we use on Instadeq. So now we have created many different cards, and things that we can do with cards is first we can collapse and expand cards here at the top right, and if you control click, it will apply to all the cards in a deck. We can also see more actions for a card, and this more icon, if you click it, it will toggle more actions. We can remove a card. It will ask us if we want to remove the reference only. Cards are references set by decks, so you can have the same card in more than one deck. And if it's the last, so you can remove the reference on this deck for the card. And if it's the last place where this card is referenced, you can remove it permanently, which is you remove the reference and you remove the card. It's no longer available in your session. We are not going to remove it. You can open the undo dialog. If you do many operations on a card and you want to undo some, you can open undo and go back in time and pick a place where you want to restore, and we will see that in a future video. You can switch to view only mode. It's, for example, here you have this node and you want only the text, or you have this grid and you want to display only the content. In this case it's empty, so there's not much display, but you can switch to view only mode and you can go back to edit. You can clone a card. For example, if you want to create a new card that's based on one you have, you can clone it and you have now a copy you can work on. You can share cards. Usually that's done for charts or layouts, and this will open the share dialog, which we will see in another video. And in cards that have output, like for example about Instadeq, well, not that one actually, for example clock, you can download the output, the current output of the card, depending on the type of output. For example, this is a structured tree like output. It will download as JSON, and cards that have a table as output, it will download as a CSV. Other thing we may want to do on cards is to reorder them. So here in the top left and bottom left, when you hover over a card, you have this icon. If you start dragging, the places that were the add buttons before now highlight and say drop here to move here, so we can like drop this over here. You can do it also when everything is collapsed, so you have if you have to reorder many cards, you can just drag and reorder while everything is collapsed. Another thing you can do, if you want to drag a card into another deck, you can open the basket, which is the basket icon over here. Now you have an empty basket, and we can drop a card over there, and we can add a reference to another deck. For example, if I create a new deck and I drop the reference to the card here, now I have it in both places. If I rename it to same card, double click on the title, and you can rename it. Let's clean and close the basket, and let's go to our previous deck. We can see that the title reflects here because it's the reference. The card is the same, it's just into decks. And we can see this over here at the bottom. We can switch the theme, but if we click the graph view, we can see that the same card, like the new title deck, depends on same card, and there's a 2 here, which means that something else depends on same card. And if we go to same card here at the bottom, we see that it's a dependency of 2 things, and it's a dependency of course of new title, this deck we have, but also about this other deck that's not local. It will for example, if this card is a dependency of another card in another deck, it will be tagged as non-local, so it's easy to spot where a card is used in another place that's not the current deck. So if we go back to the deck view, and just to complete the icons, this is the connection status. Since we are in the trial session, we are not connected to a server, that's why it's yellow. This is the sync status. Whenever there's a change that needs to be synchronized, it will turn green, and whenever the synchronization finishes, it will turn white again. This icon allows us to share the deck, like the share for card, but for the deck it's the same dialog, but we share the complete deck. And this icon here allows us to download a deck, like to make a local backup, and we can import it again later. There's another section here in the start card, which is examples. In this section we can load guides and templates for decks. For example, if I click on this one for SpaceX, it will create a new deck with this guide, and the guide explains us step by step how to consume data from SpaceX launches, which is in the JSON format, and how to create a chart. It's long because it's explained everything step by step. You can import a deck and make the changes. Let's change the title to 1, and if I go back to our deck and I click again, it will load it again from the initial state, and now I can see I have two versions of that deck I changed the title so that you can see that the previous one was is still there. So this allows us, we will add more guides and templates over time, but this allows us to start from a starting point and do some changes and have something running fast, or to learn more about different features of Instadeq by following the guides that we post over here. So this was an introduction to the main view of Instadeq, which is the one you are going to spend most of your time when you are creating dashboards. And just to finish, here at the top we have three icons. Search, which I just used, is to go to search view, which we are going to cover in detail in our video. The add deck icon, which if you see at the bottom right, every time I hover over something that can be clicked or dragged or something, the description will change and it will tell me what can I do with that. So this one is to create a new deck, and this one is to go to the admin section. In the admin section you can manage things like hooks, which are ways to send data into Instadeq, or to see all your shared resources in one place and manage them. I'm going to reload because we are in the trial session. I'm going to log in. This part is only visible if you have an account. So here you can see the profile icon. It's only visible if you're logged in. If you are not in the trial session, if you click it, it will toggle the profile menu. Right now it has three options. You can go to manage your account. If you have an account with Instadeq, you can go and change your payment details. You can change your plan. You can see your billing history, or you can cancel your account there. And you can log out, or you can close the profile. So I'm going to log out now. And this was an overview of the main view in when you're creating visualizations and decks on Instadeq, and it's the one you're going to spend most of your time while you're creating visualizations. Bye.